Maria Ramos, a young nurse, lived in the small town of Cuartero in the Capiz province of Philippines. She was married to Reynoldo, a military officer whose duty often kept him away. Pregnant and nearing her third trimester, Maria was struggling with loneliness after her father's sudden and mysterious death. It was an eerie echo of how her mother had passed away 21 years earlier, immediately after giving birth to Maria. She found solace in her best friend, Evelyn, the only one Maria had after losing her family. But after her father's sudden death, the house felt different. Shadows seemed darker. The night stretched unbearably long. And then, the sound started. It started as light scratching sounds on her roof. Soon she began to hear a strange clicking noise. At first, she dismissed it as rats. But as the days passed, the noise grew closer, more deliberate, always at nightfall. One evening, sipping coffee by the window, she heard it again. This time, it came from the garden. Trying to figure out what it was, she grabbed a flashlight, hesitated, then shone it into the trees. And there it was. A figure, hulking, grotesque, stood on its hind legs, resting clawed hands against the tree trunk. Its red eyes gleamed back at her. But the strangest part, though the sound was near, it felt as if it came from miles away, creating an illusion that the creature was far away. But she could see it right in front of her. Maria slammed the window shut and fled to her bedroom, heart pounding. The next morning she confided in Evelyn, but her friend only laughed it off, saying,
"Maria, you're overthinking again. You're stressed. It's just your mind playing tricks on you. You need rest."
Feeling helpless, Maria went back home and sat anxiously in her living room. As she sat in silence, she heard the floorboard creak. A piece of paper slid through her front door. With trembling hands, she unfolded it. The scribbles were chaotic, almost desperate, but one phrase stood out. "I know all about it. The truth. What happened to your father. And her too. Your mother. Meet me at dawn, near the lake. Do not tell anyone." Maria hesitated. It could be a trap, but if there was even a sliver of truth in it, she had to go. At dawn, she arrived at the lake. A frail, elderly woman stood at the water's edge, staring into the abyss. The old woman's presence strangely comforted her. She moved closer to the lady for her safety. Then,
"You are being watched!"
The woman was right in front of her, too close. Maria gasped, nearly stumbling back, but the old woman grabbed her wrists, steadying her.
"I know what stalks you."
The woman whispered, her grip ice cold. The woman, introducing herself as Josephine, revealed that she overheard Maria and Evelyn talk in a shop. The sound Maria was hearing was the classic sign of the presence of a monster. Maria's breath hitched. She had heard about monsters in childhood stories but never believed it real. But that was about to change. Everything was about to change. Not only was Maria on the monster's watch list, but her near and dear ones were too. Josephine had made a huge revelation. She told Maria that the monster had been in this town 21 years ago and had claimed a victim. And now it's back. It was more than just a monster. A shapeshifter so terrifying, it had traits of a vampire, a werewolf, and a witch combined. The Spanish colonizers recorded it in Doctrina Christiana. It described it as a predator that could disguise itself as a human by day, only to reveal its true grotesque form by night. Its hunger? Human flesh, particularly the heart and liver. But above all, unborn children. The old lady could see that Maria was terrified, but she continued talking, without blinking her eye even for a second, staring deeply into Maria's eyes as if piercing her soul. Josephine continued that the monster also had its weaknesses. It cannot bear loud noises and bright lights. A wave of nausea washed over Maria. Her pregnancy, the eerie sounds, the thing in the shadows. It had been watching her. As Maria sat in stunned silence, two figures suddenly emerged from the mist. A young boy and a strikingly beautiful girl with long black hair. They ran towards Josephine, panting and frantic. The boy cried, his eyes wide with worry. Maria barely registered his words, but despite her terror, she couldn't help but notice how hauntingly beautiful the girl was, her long black hair cascading like silk. The boy, Antonio, turned to Maria and thanked her for keeping his grandmother safe. Maria watched as the once fierce old woman now seemed fragile, walking away slowly with her grandchildren. Desperate for answers, Maria clung to every word Josephine uttered. However, Maria still didn't know how to recognize this monster, and more importantly, how to save herself and her unborn baby. She couldn't possibly figure out who the monster was without Josephine's help. Determined to find Josephine again, Maria spent days searching, only moving in daylight. She hung around the hospital and nearby shops, but she never mentioned the monster to Evelyn. She knew she'd just dismiss it. At nights, she wouldn't sleep and had bright lights installed in her house. She would play loud music all night long, but nothing prepared her for what happened next. On the fourth night, walking home through dimly lit streets, she heard it. The tick. Panic seized her. She ran. The sound followed her, moving impossibly fast. Then, just ahead, a shadow, hulking, writhing, a grotesque figure with a long, twisting tongue. A car's headlights cut through the darkness, forcing Maria to shield her eyes. When she looked again, the shadow was gone. Gasping for breath, Maria stumbled up her front steps. And there, waiting in the darkness, was Josephine. Maria exhaled, relief washing over her, but she had no idea. Her nightmare was only beginning. Maria rushed Josephine into her house. Her voice shook as she poured out all her questions. Who was the monster? Did it have a name? How could she save herself and her unborn child? And most chilling of all, what really happened 21 years ago? Josephine exhaled slowly, her wrinkled hands tightening around the table's edge.
It is so terrifying that people dare not speak its name,
she muttered. But after a long pause, she took a breath and whispered,
the Aswang.
Maria shuddered. She had heard the name before, but only in childhood ghost stories.
During the day it looks like one of us, beautiful, charming, with long black hair, even kind. But when darkness falls, it splits itself in two. Its upper body separates from the lower half. Then it hunts.
Maria felt her stomach turn.
Hunts what?
She asked, even though she already knew the answer. Josephine's gaze bore into hers.
Unborn children.
Maria gripped her belly, nausea rolling over her. The realization hit her like a storm. It was coming for her. Josephine told Maria about the last time the Aswang came. The villagers had spotted it twice before it disappeared. After the first sighting, fear gripped the town. People locked their doors before sunset. Children were forbidden from playing outside. The men armed themselves with garlic bombs, a lethal mix of garlic paste, salt, and holy water.
One night, one of the men strayed too far from the group. He heard the tick-tick behind him. When he turned, he saw it, a figure crouched in the darkness watching. He threw a garlic bomb, and it shrieked before vanishing into the forest. For weeks, we heard nothing. Then, a woman in perfect health died overnight, her body pale and drained.
Who was she?
Josephine reached for Maria's hand, gripping it tightly.
It was your mother. She died trying to save you from the Aswang.
A cold dread settled over Maria. Her mother had been hunted, just like she was now. Maria couldn't wait. She had to act now. At dawn, she gathered supplies, holy water from the church, sacks of garlic, and coarse salt. She was preparing for war. In the shop, she ran into Antonio, Josephine's grandson, searching frantically for his grandmother. When he saw her, relief washed over his face.
Thank you for looking after her,
He said. Maria shook her head.
She's the one looking after me.
As they left, Maria turned to Josephine one last time.
How do I kill it?
Josephine's expression darkened.
You must find where it hides its lower body. Coat it the lethal garlic mix before it returns at dawn. If it cannot reunite with its body, it will perish.
Maria swallowed hard. She had no choice but to fight. Just as Maria finished her preparations, a sudden knock echoed through the house. Sharp, repetitive. Her stomach clenched. She peeked through the peephole. Evelyn. Relief flooded her. She quickly hid the garlic mixture and opened the door. Evelyn smiled warmly, dressed beautifully.
I saw you in the shop earlier. You looked frantic. Are you okay?
Maria forced a smile.
I haven't been feeling well. Just tired.
I was just checking on you before dinner with my colleagues. Maybe we can meet tomorrow?
Maria nodded quickly. Night fell. Maria sat in darkness. It was at this time when she heard the back door creaking. Scared, she waited, trying to figure out who, or rather what it was. A light shone through the window revealed that it was the old lady, Josephine, and her grandson, Antonio. They wanted to help. Tonight the lights were off, the music silent. She wanted the Aswang to think she was vulnerable. A faint scratching on the back door. A whisper of movement near the window. It was here. She heard the footsteps, slow, methodical. Then, a creaking sound above. It was on the roof. Josephine gripped Maria's arm.
Don't move. Wait for it.
A hand, long, grotesque, with twisted fingers, reached through a hole in the ceiling. Maria gasped, pressing herself against the wall. Another thud, and the Aswang fell through the roof. It landed in a crouch, its red eyes gleaming. Its long tongue flicked, tasting the air. It smelled her. Josephine lunged, throwing the garlic bomb. Miss. The Aswang turned its bloodshot gaze toward the old woman, its tongue slithering closer. It moved fast, too fast. Then, another garlic bomb struck its back. It screeched, its skin bubbling and burning. It stumbled, retreating toward the door. Antonio sprinted outside. He had found its lower body. Maria and Josephine ran after him. The Aswang, weakened, scrambled toward the hidden torso. Too late. Antonio had already coated it in garlic and salt. The Aswang let out a final, inhuman wail as dawn's first light spilled over the trees. Its form twisted and collapsed, revealing the beautiful body it had once stolen. Maria, pale and shaken, Josephine standing firm, Antonio wounded but alive, and at their feet, the lifeless body of a woman. There, lying motionless, drenched in its own green-tinged blood, was Evelyn. Maria's breath caught in her throat. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. Her best friend, the woman who had comforted her, laughed with her, stood by her, had been the very monster hunting her all along.